All right, so I'm here with Ruby. We met at U Chicago a couple months ago. Ruby, tell me a little bit about yourself. What do you do and what's your background?
Yeah, so I am working in the financial sector in AI. I'm working for a startup called Nuarca, and we're basically focusing on creating a RAG-based large language model that helps answer questions on regulatory compliance for the financial sector, as well as reviews documents and generates documents. I have a bachelor's in computer science and classical studies, so got a little bit of variety there. And then I have a master's in artificial intelligence. I've generally been focused in natural language processing and particularly large language models.
Very cool. So let's go wide and then we can come back in. What's your general take on everything that's happening right now in the space and what you're seeing?
It's been an interesting few years. I have definitely seen it as I've been in my education and then transitioning into the industry at how fast things have been changing, obviously. I think we're at an interesting point right now, both in terms of the tech industry itself and also how it's intersecting with popular opinion. We're seeing a lot of oversaturation with all these different models competing and also all these different tools, basically, and interest in how much we can add AI into all these different areas, different industries. And we've also reached this point where the models seem almost clustered together, where a lot of the performance is continually fluctuating, and which models and tools are best keeps changing. I also think it's curious how that's interacting with public opinion, just with a lot of people being very concerned about how much AI is getting used by different industries. So
there's definitely a lot of pushback. I think that comes a little bit from the fact that people don't fully know how to use it and it's not working great for them. And they're like, okay, why is so much money being pumped into this technology if it doesn't really do much? Which tools are you using on a day-to-day basis?
So I use ChatGPT frequently. I've also been using Copilot integrated with VS Code for a lot of debugging work, though Copilot has not been working great for me recently. So I've been trying to put out some feelers into different tools. I've been playing around a little bit with Gemini's anti-gravity and Codex from OpenAI. But yeah, I think the one I use most frequently is ChatGPT. And I've also actually been experimenting with Claude in the past couple weeks. So just because we've been getting some very impressive performance there.
Cool. Yeah, I think personally I use Claude as number one. Claude's top tool in my opinion for general usage and for coding, obviously.
Yeah, it's been impressive. I was doing some debugging today and I was comparing the results from GPT and from Claude, and Claude was the only one that was having any success in helping me. So
it's super nice. Yeah. So how are you using some of the tools professionally? And if you can't get too far into specifics, that's fine. But just in terms of working and with the financials of it all, how are you integrating AI tools into that?
Primarily using tools for debugging for pieces of code that I'm creating. I work more in the AI evaluation and kind of QA side of things. I'm not in the creating a lot of the backend code. So I'll use it for debugging small things. And then another large area that I've been using it for is text generation. I've been working on a evaluation framework for my company's model. And a big part of that is creating a test set. So I'll basically iterate with usually ChatGPT to either draft documents, draft questions, and then go through myself of actually verifying them for accuracy and verifying answers for them as well. I also just interact a lot with testing different models and how they're actually working when integrated into our RAG-based system. So we've been doing a lot of that, trying out different models and seeing which gives the ideal performance. So
interesting. So I actually didn't know this before we started talking that you had you said a master's in artificial intelligence?
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about that. What do you learn in that type of program? It's got to be somewhat new. AI has been around before AI became big, but with the explosion of AI for the public, not just researchers and students and those who were on it beforehand, what do you learn when you're learning about AI in school?
Yeah, 2023, that's when I started my master's. It was an accelerated year-long program, so a lot baked into a short amount of time. But it was a very interesting time to be entering because we had just, I think, in the past 2 years, seen the explosion of the LLMs to the public, especially. They had actually recently restructured the degree that I did. I think maybe that year, I think I might have had the year where they had just restructured everything to integrate all these new developments, especially in the NLP world. So I focused particularly in that area, and that's where we were seeing the most changes that it had been integrated. So the NLP courses had basically been completely restructured because of all the new innovations in the past couple of years. For the actual degree in general, we had both the intensives on machine learning to get a sense of the kind of broader spectrum of what AI looks like. Because of course, right now, especially in the public, we are so focused on large language models, and that's what a lot of people are talking about when they talk about AI. But it's only one very small sector of what AI means. So yeah, I had a few classes that gave the kind of breadth of what machine learning, or at least as much as you can get in a few-week course. And then courses that specifically focused on both the history and where we currently are in NLP. And then we also had some ethics options, and then more general courses outside of the AI sphere. But yeah, I think it's definitely a challenge, particularly with how fast things are changing, to design courses that can actually keep up.
Yeah, I can't imagine it's easy to try and design a curriculum of something that changes every month or every week or even every day. So talk to me a little bit about what you're excited about in the AI space. When you're daydreaming about AI, if you ever are, what pops into your head? What do you think of maybe 5 years, 10 years down the line?
I think what particularly interests me is the potential for AI to actually help with accessibility. You see a lot of discourse around how it's harming people, it's taking away jobs, a lot of those kind of topics. But I do think it very much interests me how it can actually be used to increase accessibility, whether that means actually having tools for, if you're entering a new career, for example, having models and tools that can assist with something like coding, or I don't know, asking questions about the financial sector. It can increase the ability for new people to actually start on their jobs, and especially if you have different backgrounds, wherever you went to school or what your experience was, everyone's coming from a different place. I think in general, there's the possibility for AI to really increase accessibility. And I think it comes from focusing in on the areas where AI actually will be most helpful. Right now, we are seeing definitely a spread of AI being integrated everywhere. And I have some concerns around certain sectors where AI is integrated. But I think that there is the potential for a lot of good for people, especially in accessibility.
Cool. What would you say your concerns are? Or what would you say to the people who are down on AI just from a public perception angle? What's your response to that? Do you agree with them in some areas? Do you think they're off? What's your kind of AI to the public spiel, per se?
A lot of apologies that I'm working in AI usually, but no, but I think my usual focus is that AI is potentially being used too broadly. And I like, as a lot of people do, I have concerns about it being used, for example, for decisions on individuals, like in the applying for jobs, resume review, some integrations in schools. If there's actually a concern of taking away teachers and replacing them with more AI-based tools, I don't know how likely that actually is. But the main places I focus on in my concerns are basically making decisions on individuals without any kind of human review, and also the concern of sensitive data being exposed. And from my personal perspective, I'm just hoping to, in my own career, focus on companies that have robust ethical frameworks that they're working by, and also just encouraging people to regaining some perspective on how AI works, especially anyone who gets into the sense of AI is going to take over, trying to bring us back down to earth a bit in how these models actually operate. And I don't think we're at that level, at least yet. So
I like that. All right. I think that's about it. Is there anything that I didn't talk about or I didn't cover that you wanted to address, or any other plugs or anything?
Let me see. I was looking over the list of questions. I don't think so. I think that covered most of it. Yeah. Yeah.
Excellent. All right, Ruby, I appreciate your time.
Yes, it was great talking to you.